you're not supposed to compete year round all the time and do well. It's like, that's why everyone's on steroids. The tournaments that I'm doing now, I receive a greater reward for competing well than I do competing multiple times. To compete and to focus despite whatever you're feeling, you know? My best competition happens if I don't drive. If you want to be a competitive grappler, like a high-level grappler, I think you need that experience of like a PGF or like some grueling competition where you just do a crap load of matches.
Are we going to see you at CJI too? So today I'm joined by black belt under Jeff Serafin, writer of the Grappler's Diary, ADCC veteran, and active competitor training out of the B team, Chris Wojcik. Chris, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Yeah, well, like kind of like going back to like how like athletes have coaches, it's like sports have seasons, you know, and for jiu-jitsu, for some reason, we're like, oh, the season is always. And then like I remember I always used to get a kick out of like, people would be like, oh, competition season is starting because it's January 1st. It's like, no, the year is starting, you know, like competition is like, you're not supposed to compete year round all the time and do well. It's like, that's why everyone's on steroids, you know. Yeah. You're supposed to have like kind of periods where you slow down and then periods where you ramp up. And then it's like supposed to kind of look more like this instead of like just being up here all the time. That's not sustainable. That's why you get injured, you burn out. And then also too, everyone's on gear.
Yeah, we see a lot of people that are trying to be at that peak all the time because there's tournaments all around the year. And yeah, it doesn't seem ideal. It feels like the way you guys are structuring it is kind of the way to go, for sure.
Yeah, I've kind of like reached a point where like it's hard to like if you're trying to make a name in jiu-jitsu, you need to be competing frequently. But like I've kind of like in the last year or so, I've kind of been like, okay, now I want to, instead of just competing as much as possible, it's more so about competing well. You know, like at the tournaments that I'm doing now, I receive a greater reward for competing well than I do competing multiple times.
Yeah, for sure. And you've also developed the experience throughout the years. You've competed a ton. At the PGF tournament, you had 15 matches in 5 days, which is crazy. One of the things I wanted to ask you about how much you've competed is what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned from all that experience?
I guess the main lesson that you learn from competing is that you make like the more you expose yourself to competition, the more you compete, the more you make competition just like training, you know, so like nerves go down the more you compete. So like kind of doing like by the time I did like PGF day 1, I felt kind of nervous. PGF day 5, I felt nothing, like literally nothing. You know, by like, and it was a gradual decrease throughout the week. Day 2, still kind of nervous. Day 3, less nervous. Day 4, I was kind of like ready to be done. Day 5, I felt just like another day. You know, I was like, I did so much. And I think like doing that, like doing a week like that, like if you want to be a competitive grappler, like a high level grappler, I think you need that experience of like a PGF or like some grueling competition where you just do a crap load of matches. I wrestled in high school and I would like I told you, I wasn't very good, but like I had 30 matches in a year, you know, or maybe more. Like one year I remember, so the year I took wrestling the most serious was my senior year. I had 50 matches between the end of one season and the start of the next. So like just like a 6-month period, you know, and I would just do a tournament every other weekend basically. And I would get like 3 or 4 matches, do this, you know, 10 times and you're up at 50. And I think having that experience, you learn how to compete and you also learn how to win, you know, and winning is a separate skill from competing.
So do you have any pre-competition rituals? Like, what do you think of, Nicky Rod has this whole philosophy about saving your good decisions for your competition. What do you think about that? Do you have anything of your own that you do before comps?
So one thing that's funny is I remember seeing a clip from Nicky Rod where he was saying he doesn't drive on the day of a competition. And I don't know if I agree, but I've noticed that my best competition happens if I don't drive. So like I walk everywhere that I can. I have Who's Number One in like a couple weeks, and I told my girlfriend, I'm like, can you drive me to this match? Just because I don't want to like test it, you know, like I feel like ideally I don't want to be making a ton of decisions on the day of a match either. So I definitely agree with that. I'm not as intense as Nicky Rod. I'm like, he's just a really intense guy. I don't have the same kind of, you know, like I get intense for competition, but not the same, you know. Pre-competition rituals, I try to eat similar foods the night before. I eat very light on the day of. I like to ideally have like I try to keep the rest of my life surrounding a competition pretty low stress. So like I don't like if I know somebody like if there's a person in my life who stresses me out, I don't talk to them the week of a competition or like I watch like comfort shows like I don't know, like right now we're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is
Love
like I'll
it.
watch like a
Yeah.
comfort show that like gets my mind off of competition or like a movie or read a book or like I try to keep it really normal. Like I don't want it to feel like, oh, we're competing. Like even like when I was at ADCC, it was like I was watching like some sitcom in the room the night before, trying to keep it normal. Like so that way, like when I wake, like I want to save my anxiety and my energy and my adrenaline for the fight. I don't want to be feeling it like 2 days before, 3 days before. You know, I don't want to be like dealing with that. I want to, and if I am, I want to try to do my very best because sometimes you will. I try to not like freak out about it. So like then it's like okay, if I'm feeling anxious, I try to like allow myself to feel anxious and then process it and then usually it goes away. I don't want to be like anxious and then worried about being anxious. I'm like, "Oh, why am I so anxious for this match?" You know, so I try to like keep my life really normal. And then if I feel some sort of anxiety before a competition, I try to normalize that as well. So then like when I go into the competition, I have like the best version of myself is yet to come out.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You can really only sustain a high level of anxiety for so long. I can't remember if I'm using the right term, but like challenge nervousness or challenge anxiety, where like your eyes are focused and your heart rate is at the right level and you can all your senses are like focused. But if you go a little bit more than that, or if you're anxious for too long, it puts you into, oh, I can't focus, I can't see properly, I can't think properly. So all those things, I think definitely chilling yourself out before a competition makes sense. I think we can all probably do better about that.